lovers, it is G-Swizz here, and I'm here today to talk about some books that TikTok made me buy. If you didn't know, this is a 7 on Sunday topic, and I'm the host of 7 on Sunday. I will link the Goodreads page down in the description where you can check it out. You can participate in a topic in the future, or you can suggest a topic. This week's topic, I've actually wanted to do for a very long time, but I just decided that this month was the right time to put my foot down and to finally talk about the books that TikTok made me buy. I am not necessarily as active on Book Talk as a lot of people are. There are a lot of people who scroll on Book Talk every single day. There are times where I dabble in it. I need to use TikTok more, but I just know that if I start using TikTok more often than I already do, I'm just gonna get distracted in a lot of aspects of my life. But that being said, I do enjoy the occasional TikTok scroll. And also, TikTok doesn't necessarily just influence my reading habits, it very much influences everyone else's. So if TikTok recommends a book to someone else, they will either post that book on their Instagram or their Twitter or their YouTube channel, and it becomes a TikTok sensation because of the reach that the book has had. A lot of these books I've gotten to know not just on TikTok itself, but I've gotten to know through other people who discovered these books through TikTok or decided to read these books because everybody else on TikTok was talking about them. I guess you don't necessarily have to have the TikTok app on your phone in order to talk about this because of how far the reach has gone beyond TikTok. But TikTok is the most influential factor in it all. And the books that I'm going to talk about today aren't books that I wanted to read before TikTok existed. So I'm excited to share my TBR or books that I've read based on that algorithm. I guess without further ado, I'm going to get straight into the books that TikTok made me buy. I'm going to start off with the saddest of the bunch, and that, my friends, is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I did not have motivation to pick this book up whatsoever. From the first time I heard about it, I heard it was a tragedy. The first thing I thought was, well, if I'm not invested in these characters or this myth to begin with, then what's the point, really? Why would I want to invest myself in someone else's tragic love story if it's just gonna hurt anyway? So I put buying this book off for years. I'm talking about maybe 7 years. Like, I put it off for that long. And then all of a sudden, I don't know what came over me. I just decided maybe I'm gonna give it a try. And I'm not gonna lie, this is one of the most intimidating books on my TBR. I'm super intimidated by it because of the tragedy that this book contains. I don't know if I can handle it, but I want to give it a try because I want to know why everyone loves it so much, beside the fact that it is a tragic love story. I actually want to know what people love about the plot or the characters. I really want to know that. And so if anything, I feel like this book being viral on TikTok has really struck some sort of curiosity within me, because if it was a tragedy that everybody didn't like, it would not be going viral for the reasons that it's going viral now. People would forget about it later and just not talk about it. Obviously, it will have its controversy striking when it first comes out, but people love it to this day. I don't necessarily have to worry about not loving it, but I'm definitely worried that it's going to destroy me. I'm not ready at all. And another kind of tragic love story that TikTok has also been recommending is They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. Unlike The Song of Achilles, I've read this one. I'd say that it is somewhat worth the TikTok hype. I do like the first half of this book. However, I think that the lack of closure at the end of the book is something that I have a little bit of a gripe with. Not necessarily for the two main characters. You know, when their fate meets them, like, it makes sense because you never really have full closure when it's your last day. However, I'm more talking about the other characters that are surrounding them. Like, I would have liked to see an epilogue with those other characters because their life still goes on. We're so invested in not only Mateo and Rufus's lives, we're also invested in the people around them as well. So I would have liked to have that kind of closure, but I'm guessing that Adam might just include that in the next book, the spin-off to They Both Die at the End. So I'm curious about the lives that surrounded the two main characters here. I definitely would have not picked this book up if it wasn't for TikTok. I wasn't really interested in it initially. I mean, it has an interesting concept. I'm happy that it's gonna have a spin-off, but when I'm going book shopping, I never usually prioritize standalones anyway, so I just avoided this one for a while. So I just put this off for years, and I'm happy that I finally read it. Even though I wasn't really satisfied with the ending at all, I'm really happy that I gave this book a shot, and I can definitely see why it has all the hype. I would have not picked this up up if it wasn't for it going viral. The next books I've got to mention are two books that are still on my TBR that I'm very much looking forward to reading, and those are Casey McQuiston's books. I haven't yet read One Last Stop, and I haven't yet read Red, White, and Royal Blue. I heard everyone pretty much raving about Red, White, and Royal Blue when it first came out. However, I wasn't necessarily interested in contemporary romance at that time. Now I am, therefore I'm ready to sink my teeth into this book. But One Last Stop, I'm not gonna lie, the premise intrigued me before I went back into contemporary romance. I'm very much interested in this book because I'm interested in the subway romance dynamic and concept, so I decided I wanted to check this one out. Also, now that I'm kind of getting into romance contemporary, I've thought to myself, I may as well just get these both, and I may as well just read these both eventually. Very much looking forward to these two books. I cannot wait to let you guys know how I feel about them. I've heard great things about both of them in individual ways. But personally, I don't think that I would have picked these books up if they didn't go viral on TikTok, because yeah, I knew that this book existed, but this book became more popular after TikTok. And with books now becoming TikTok famous when I'm reading contemporary romance, I reckon that that was the perfect time for them to become viral, because if they didn't, I would have just forgotten about this one and I would not have purchased it. But I did indeed purchase it, and alongside that I purchased this one. So I am very much looking forward to reading these and letting you guys know my thoughts eventually. Here is a controversial one, a book that I have not yet read, but TikTok has convinced me to give Colleen Hoover a shot. I'm holding It Ends With Us up because this seems to be the most popular one out of the releases. There's also books like Verity that is very popular on there. November 9 is also pretty popular on there. Ugly Love is as well. Just pretty much a lot of Colleen Hoover's books are very popular on TikTok. I remember kind of like swearing off of her books years ago. Still have not yet read one of her books at all. However, I feel like I'm doing myself a little bit of an injustice if I have some sort of bias based on other people's reviews of Colleen Hoover's works if I don't have that personal opinion of their works myself. So I just figured, now that I'm of an adult age and I'm reading books that are targeted toward my age demographic, I decided that I'm gonna give Colleen Hoover a try, and I would not have even thought about giving them a try if it wasn't for TikTok. For some reason, all of her books are being praised. It's really funny because everyone on TikTok's recommending her, half the people on Bookstagram are, and then you've got Book Twitter who absolutely do not like Colleen Hoover. I mean, at least my Book Twitter algorithm does not like Colleen Hoover, okay? It's very interesting that this author is polarized and not everyone has the same opinion regarding Colleen Hoover's books. And now I'm gonna bring up some dark romance. I don't think I would have picked up A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett St. Clair if it wasn't for the virality on TikTok. I mean, people were talking about this on Bookstagram as well, but I really think that both TikTok and Bookstagram had a part to play in its success. Not everybody loves this series at all, and I could totally see why. I know and I acknowledge that the series does have some issues. However, this one, out of all the books that I'm mentioning on this list today, is probably, in my opinion, the most addictive. It was so engrossing to read. For some reason, I just couldn't necessarily get enough of it when I was reading it. Yeah, I'll acknowledge that it's not perfect at all. It really isn't. But I was just so fascinated in it, to the point that every single time I finish a book, not every single time I finish a book, but a lot of the time when I'm finishing a book and I don't know what to pick up next, I tend to ask myself, is this the time to finally read A Touch of Darkness? For some reason, I just can't help but think that way because of the adrenaline this series gave me when I was reading the first book. I loved this first book a lot. I really enjoyed my read of it, and you know, I don't think I would have picked it up if it wasn't for TikTok. I'm not gonna lie. And speaking of a dark kind of romance, I mean, I've only really read the first book, so I'm not gonna count the first book as romance whatsoever. That TikTok played a part in recommending to me was Guild by Raven Kennedy. This is the first book in the Plated Prisoner series. I don't think that I would have picked this book up if it wasn't for the virality. Even though, as I've mentioned previously, my algorithm tends to recommend me books based on some other books that I've liked, I don't think that I would have been that intrigued in the Plated Prisoner series if BookTok didn't push it so hard. I'm actually really happy that I have started this series, even though I don't like this first book that much, because this first book, if anything, feels more like a prequel to the series than an actual first book. It doesn't really have that much plot. However, you get Oren's backstory, and it's kind of really tragic. Every single time I think about it, it just disgusts me. However, I'm so looking forward to continuing on with the series because I just know that she is going to be such an amazing protagonist throughout all of this, and I can't wait to see her happy. That is why I cannot wait to continue on with the series. But if you would have told me that the first book was going to be like this, then it would have been a hard pass. I'd be like, no, first book doesn't have any plot. No way, I'm not going to try that. But you know what? I did. And I have incentive to continue on because I just want to see Oren happy. the second last book that I believe TikTok made me buy is a contemporary romance that pretty much got me back into contemporary romance. And it was a perfect summer read, and that, my friends, is It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. I really have TikTok to thank for reviving my passion for romance that takes place in a contemporary setting, because yes, I do love my romantic subplots in fantasy books and in sci-fi fiction or in post-apocalyptic fiction, all that stuff, etc. However, I am so happy that this book kind of put contemporary romance back on the map for me. It Happened One Summer has to be one of the best contemporary romance novels that are on my shelves at the moment. I love this one so much. If you're wanting a place to start in terms of contemporary romance, I would highly suggest you start where I started again, really, because I mean, I tried contemporary romance years ago. Every once in a while I would try it, but I just never really get into it. However, this really helped me in terms of getting back. Oh my goodness, I love the story. I love the stories of the Bellinger sisters. I love the romances that happen in the series. And I love that, especially with Tessa Bailey's novels, they are so rooted in reality. But not only that, she knows how to write the spice, and she knows how to do it pretty well. So yes, I would highly recommend, if you want to check out anything by Tessa Bailey, this is one of my favorite novels. I reckon that TikTok making this viral is very much worth the hype, and I highly recommend it if you haven't yet considered it. The final book that TikTok made me buy that I'm going to mention today will be The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. I actually read this book last week, and oh my goodness, it was hilarious. It was fun. It was exhilarating. I like the concept. I did talk about this in one of my previous videos, but it's really cool because there's a couple who actually are pretending to be a married couple in order to take someone else's honeymoon, because the couple who was meant to go on a honeymoon actually are sick, so they can't make it to their vacation, which is kind of sad. However, I like this concept a lot, and I like how it was done. I didn't necessarily like the romance as much as a lot of people did. However, I liked the plot of this, I liked the concept, and this book has really encouraged me to pick more books up by Christina Lauren. So far, I've read 3 of their novels, and I cannot wait to continue on with the rest of their backlist. But I believe this is their most recent novel, and I can see the hype. I mean, the concept itself is kind of really cool, and it's kind of engrossing to begin with. However, I would mention that their writing is also very engaging, and it definitely does keep you throughout the story. I was not able to put this book down after I got into it. So I would highly recommend, if you want to check anything by Christina Lauren out, The Unhoneymooners is a great place to start. So I guess that's gonna be it for this video today, book lovers. If you happen to stay till the end of the video, leave me the palm tree emoji to kind of go with the Unhoneymooners vibe, but also maybe It Happened One Summer as well. If you happen to enjoy this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet already. Join the amazing community of book lovers. And also, I have social medias. I'm at GSwizzleBooks on Twitter and Instagram, and I'm also Goodreads. That's www.goodreads.com/GSwizzle. And finally, I'm at TikTok. I'm at GSwizzle on TikTok if you want to follow me there for some bookish content. I love you, book lovers, and I will see you later. Peace.
How did I weigh half when I flipped it in a double? How did I weigh half when I flipped it in a double?